And Herbster, we are getting ready to go live, girl.
I'm ready.
You better start fluffing up your hair. I can talk over the music, right?
Yes,
I just
you can.
did. We are so excited to be coming to you live again today, our third live. And we are thrilled that Amazon put us on sale today for the digital copy of the Coach Business Guide, The Path to Launch and Grow Your Coaching Practice. So if you want to grab that
there
for under $2, my husband would say $2. Well, he really wouldn't say it that way because I've sort of Southernized him. But anyway, welcome everybody. Rhonda Boyle here with Ann Herbster. And we are with the Coach Business Guide. And we are thrilled to be coming to you today. How you doing, Ann?
I am great. Looking forward to this conversation and our guest that's going to be on later.
Yes, that's right. She is from Wyoming, a longtime coach, MaLinda Perry. And we're going to be talking about building or creating actually a package or workshop, something that every coach needs in their toolbox. Oh my goodness, somebody bought 2 copies.
Yay!
Yes, 2 paperbacks and a digital. Thank you. And I don't know who it is, although I have a feeling it might be Karen Weigel because she sent me a text message. And either one, by the way, we cannot see your comments unless you pop in StreamYard.com/Facebook right here. Am I showing that? No, here. I'm going to show it right there on the screen. So go there and then we will be able to see who you are. Otherwise, it just says this and hi, beautiful back. So anyway, Ann, we are thrilled to be here, and this is our third time coming to you and talking about the new book just introduced today. So here you go.
That's right.
Yeah. So let's talk about
Coach Business Guide.
Yes, let's talk about it. And we want to go over right now some of the tips that we talk about in the Coach Business Guide about creating a basic workshop and a basic coaching package. And this is something that every coach really has to have, as I said, in their bag of tricks, because for several reasons. Ann, let's start off and give them a few.
Well, let's start off with the fact that you need to understand who your client is and what the transformation you want to have happen with them. It's sort of the before and after transformation is the title of the chapter. And what it does is it says, what is that journey your client needs to go on? And there's really a journey for your personal clients. And then there's a journey for if you're going to have corporate clients. And it's helping you map out what is that journey? What do you want them to look like before? What are their challenges? And then how are they going to feel and what's going to happen after? What is the change that you want to achieve? And, if you don't answer that question, you run the risk of not creating or developing either a corporate package, a corporate program, workshop, group session or whatever, or one-to-one coaching package that's going to satisfy their needs. So this is so important to get there first, right?
It really is. And, there are other real good reasons to do that too. Have a coaching package. For one thing, it extends your opportunity to continue working with them. And that helps with the financial, because sometimes coaches are feast or famine. They get a big contract and they quit recruiting, or not recruiting, but looking on the hunt for new clients. And then when that job's over, boom, it feels like they're starting all over.
Right.
So when you're really clear on who your client is, what they need, and then your package, you're able to marry the two and grow your business organically.
Yeah. And, oftentimes what we found, and we talked to coaches, and we've worked with hundreds of coaches in different areas, what we found is that they know how to coach. They've got their certification. But, when you go through that training and certification, what you don't get is, how do you create a package? And or how do you create a workshop? What are the steps? What are the critical areas that go into that? And, it starts with the basics. What materials do you have? What kinds of materials, information do you own that you created?
Mhm.
Or do you have access to through your certification or training programs that you went through? So that's going to also help you with your foundation. Oh, and
Yeah,
there was a question there. What do you suggest for charging? We're going to get to that because you know what? That's really, really important. And we'll walk you through that later on during this session together because pricing is something everybody hates to do, but you got
hates
to do
it.
it. Yeah,
You do
hates
have
it.
to do it.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep,
Yeah, so let's real quick go through a few of the other things like you just said, the materials,
yep,
and then you have to know some of the logistics, right? About
yeah.
where you're going to be and what kind, and so we give you something that really kind of allows you to work like a checklist, answering the
Hmm.
questions. What equipment do I need? How much time do I have? And so forth. And you also get to really clearly identify the objectives and the outcomes that your client is expecting that you
Right.
will fulfill.
Right. And by knowing
Mhm.
that, you're then able to, let's say you're going to create a workshop. Let's talk about creating a workshop, Rhonda. You know, you got to start with the basics. What's it going to be about? And how do you describe it? Just the basic information about that workshop, who,
Right.
what, when, where, etc. But
Mhm.
then what are the objectives and outcomes? And those objectives and outcomes need to tie back to what's the transformational journey, what's the outcomes that that client is expecting. And
Right.
that's really important because at the end of this, you want that client to be totally satisfied and be willing to offer you the next program or the next
And
package or
more,
run
we
that
call
work.
that more money.
More money. Yes, so you
That's
can
right.
generate more revenue. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes. And when
Now,
we did these exercises so that we broke them into pieces so that as you're creating your workshop for the first time, we tried to put all these things like, how are you going to map it out? And what are the exercises that you're going to include in there? What kinds of experiences do you want to have? What materials are you going to need each time or throughout during that workshop?
right. I think one of the most important things that we cover in both cases is
Hmm.
the follow up planning.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens when you walk out the door? Like you already need to have an idea of what you're going to do so that you can continue to build that relationship with this client
Yeah.
and gain more business. It's a lot easier to get more business out of a client than it is to find a brand new one. Wouldn't you agree,
And
Ann?
yeah, and part of the follow-up planning, it's not just getting those testimonials, which are important by the way, but it's
Mhm.
also not just planning for it, but having something ready to offer. Having something on the table so that either at the end of your workshop, assuming that your client allows this, but also at the end of your one-on-one package that you've created, you've got something ready to go next. You've got, oh,
Mhm.
by the way, we've just finished this great conversation on writing your resume or figuring out what you want to do. I've got another 6-week package, by the way, that will take you through the first interview process. So it helps you position stuff that they're going to be open, ready, and receptive to take advantage of.
Yeah, you really have to have that
Yeah,
in your back pocket in the end for sure. Well,
yeah,
I tell you what we really ought to do is bring in, well, before I get to that, before I get to MaLinda, who she's going to come on and talk to us a little bit about her experience here, is that
yeah,
we do help you map out even timing, for example, on your workshop and the things you're going to offer each week if you're having a coaching package. So because every session can be, or every segment should be different, so that
right.
you
And
have
yeah.
something more to move your client forward.
Mhm. And
Hmm.
the other thing that I think is so important that we sometimes don't think about is prepare for the unexpected.
Oh
So
yeah.
flexibility, no matter when you're talking to people, be it in a workshop or in a one-to-one, you got to be ready to change. So as you
Yes.
are preparing your materials, over prepare. Have more than you think you'll need, especially because things could go really fast. Or be prepared to have things slow down. because you're getting into some really meaty discussions. You just don't want to move on. You know, Rhonda, when we were writing this book and we were doing, especially the one-to-one, you know, where you're creating a package that you can offer to your client. No coach is going to go into a session with somebody not prepared. And what
I
we
hope
want
not.
you to do is we want you to not just think about what you're going to talk about, but have questions ready to go, both for your workshop and your one-on-one. Have your questions ready to ask. Have your exercises ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Debbie is agreeing. She says she agrees that it's not greedy,
Yeah.
that clients can't handle when you throw everything at them. So it's
Mhm.
really a service to your client to have a pause or have a next step so that because we all know that this type of growth it's lifelong.
Right,
So
right.
you might as well be prepared for the next part of their life because
Yes, yes.
you already know so much about them, right?
Yeah, and I love
Mhm.
it. Somebody said the checklist in the book is beautiful. Thank you. You know, we wanted to
It's
provide you.
questions as opposed to like a check the box, you
Yes,
know?
there's questions, but also
Mhm.
here it's going to help you think about what you need to be successful.
Yes, and then look here, Debbie, right.
Yep,
What you
yep,
need to, and how you're anticipating what they're going to likely need in each step on the journey.
yeah,
So we do ask you to look ahead, and then we give you the opportunity, you know, the way to do that with the
yep,
right questions to kind of order your way
totally.
through there. Well, let's bring in MaLinda. And hold on, I want to read you how amazing she is. She is a Wyoming raised hockey mom, a strengths coach, and she is a subject matter expert for Incredible Family, which is a coaching organization. She works with single parents, blended families, and neurodivergent individuals. She will tell you that she is your strongest advocate and biggest cheerleader. MaLinda Perry, come on up and say hey to the people.
Hey,
Hey.
everyone. Thank you,
Good
Rhonda. That
to
was so
see
sweet.
you. Well, you're just quite amazing, ma'am. And thank you so much for coming on because, you know, this is an area where coaches tend to struggle is how do I break up everything that I know and put it into such a way that it brings progress and transformation to my client?
Oh, absolutely. I love the checklist. You guys did amazing with that. Because I worked with you, Rhonda, before the checklist was even there. So you were giving me
Right.
checklists years ago.
You were my
And
guinea pig.
and I was able to go through all of those things. Um, I just look at how much growth I've had in the last 7 years. Can you believe we've been doing this for so long?
Long time.
Wow.
And it really does, when you use the checklist, it really does get you to the next step. It's the next one, and here's the next one. And one of my biggest challenges was doing workshops or trainings and following a book. And then what do I do with all these people that I have and the 20 people that showed up? And so with the checklist, you're able to come across a buyout or your next big adventure, or you're building. Don't look at it as coaches as actually building those relationships and those workshops to the next level. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take you from this step. You're not just you, yourself in your book, but the clients. I'm going to take my clients from this step now into a bigger portion, a bigger room. It's like a house tour. Here's the entryway. And I'm so glad you're to visit.
Yeah.
Now let me take you into the kitchen. This is the heart of the home, and this is, where I want to do my best work with you. And so I think that the book helps get from the entryway to the kitchen. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what you're
Yeah.
describing, I
Yeah.
think, is that, everybody wants to go into the kitchen and the fellowship of the kitchen, but you have to get there, right? And so by opening up with a workshop and then moving in, you give them a way to move into the hallway and then down, into the area where the rest of the family is, so to speak, is how I'm understanding it.
Yes, and as moving forward, you get to offer your clients not only what you have to bring to the table, but also incentives for them to move forward with you. Here's my, like Ann said, here's my next 6 weeks, or here's a book offer, or here's the next class. What are you having them sign up for before they ever walk out of your workshop? What
Right.
are you giving them to bring value? They just
And MaLinda, I think you said that you started doing that and you've seen an increase in your business as a result of going through, of making sure that you've got that follow-up planning in place, right?
absolutely. And also, it gives you, after you do a workshop, we forget that it's going to be word of mouth. Like building those relationships helps us move to the word of mouth phase. And while we're offering them incentives before they leave, we're also offering them the opportunity to go tell their friends. And those are the contacts you want to build. So now you can put those people in your list, your bag of tricks as well, and it will grow. And to me, that's where the value comes in as far as building up your clientele, and your checklist helps do that.
Well, because what you're doing too is you're creating community also. You're not just giving them a place to go. Like I'm understanding your process is workshop, then moving into individual coaching or to small group coaching. So you
Yep,
give them the
exactly.
opportunity to create relationship also. And that does nothing but bind you and them together, which is a great thing.
Yeah, and I like to look at the people in my workshops because it's a little bit different than maybe resume writing or anything like that, but to help them just interact with each other and help them build their tribe along with me. So I want to help them get to the individuals that they want to be at to make a bigger tribe for themselves or a bigger support system, and help move them forward that way. I think it brings so much value to it. And that was one of the biggest things you taught me, Rhonda, was what's the next big thing? Where's it coming from? And no, you're not giving yourself enough worth. You're way more valuable than that. And I love that advice. That's actually made me move forward.
Good.
Understanding self-worth and how much you bring to the table as a coach, I think is tremendous.
Well, but so does every coach, but they don't recognize it. That's all.
Right.
Like all I ever do for anyone that I work with is affirm who they already are. And so
I think, and I think your book does that really well. I mean, and I'm even using your book now to help train some of my coaches. So thank you. Thank you for giving me the in.
Well, we really believe in coaching, and we think coaching is really necessary. So, for people, and gosh, especially now, I can't think of another time in history where people need to be reminded of how amazing they are and have them return to focus on what they want. Debbie says it's because we're all crazy, and the book keeps you focused. Well, let me just say that coaches tend to be, they get lost in the tedium of the details. Anne knows this. I tell her I'm breaking out in hives.
Yeah, all the time.
There are times where, there some of these things that we are required to do to grow a thriving coaching practice can be really hard if we don't have something to help us organize the information. And so
Right.
that's what, and it's not just organizing the information into necessarily a format, although we do want you to do that. It's organizing all the information that you have in here that you can use that you don't think's any big deal.
One of the things
Yeah. And
I like, oh, go ahead.
no, MaLinda, please go.
So as a new coach, I came from a business background. So I knew those little steps that you had to do in order to get a business underfoot. A lot of people don't know that. They're going from a corporate industry or a setting where I'm going to just now become a coach, and I didn't have to do the business end of it. And
Right.
that part is so important, because knowing that end of it is what brings in the money for you to be ahead of the game as a coach. And the book actually helps you make those decisions moving forward and gives you the food for thought, or I need to have this in order to answer my questions. Whereas a lot of people are starting out, I'm going to be a coach and this sounds great. And they will learn coaching techniques, but they don't learn the business side of it. And the business side of it is what will help you keep moving forward, will grow your business.
And it's how you eat.
Yeah. And MaLinda, we always do the things that we know how to do. And so as a coach, we know how to coach, and we love doing that. And what we try to do in the book is bring forward and make it easy for people to do the hard stuff. The hard stuff of, how do I set up my business in a way that I can drive in the revenue to be able to eat, as Rhonda just said. And so it really, we wanted to make it simple, because we know this kind of stuff is the icky stuff. This is the hard stuff for many, not for all, but for many.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Well, it's not just, I don't look at it as the icky stuff. I just look at it as the stuff nobody ever tells us. Like, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. Nobody does. And if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
Yeah. And so this just gives a checklist, or a starting point to go, oh, this is valuable. I didn't really think that I would need to do this starting my business. And oh, guess what? I do. And to me, that's where the value comes in, is not just the step by step, but knowing the why behind each step. Because people can tell you to do stuff all the time, but if you don't know the why behind it, it brings no value.
And we really try hard to bring that why and let people understand, why you have to know this part. Because if you don't, then, you're flying blind a little bit.
I look at everything since I've been a coach. I look at, where's my growth and opportunity going to come from this? And I think as a coach, the book helps me see future growth and opportunities. So this is not just a tool you'll use to get your business started, but this is a tool you'll use throughout your business, through the whole, because every time you start a new workshop, or you start a new product that you're going to do, or a new coaching segment, go from strength-based to family coaching, you're going to use those tools in the book to help you move the chapter. Look at this Italian girl using her hands. but that's where I think the biggest value comes in.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
You do.
That's it. And so you might as well do it in a sequential way. This is, Debbie says, I think the hard part is knowing what to do. This book tells you what to do to keep you in motion.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We're keeping you in motion and thoughtfully considering. And some of the answers you may not know. You may have to go hunt for them. And that may be something you've never even thought to do. Like, I want to address the part where of the pricing of your workshop for Karen. If you're still with us, Karen, let's just address that real quick, because I think that's a really confusing thing for coaches. They don't even know what to do or how to charge for this workshop. or this
Right.
coaching package.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that, what we often do is we don't think through, for example, all the costs that go into workshop, right? Everything
Mhm.
from your space to if you're providing meals and you have somebody there helping you, or technology, which is,
Sure.
we often tend to forget those things and just come down and say, oh, I can charge X dollars. I think the other piece is, what it really comes down to, what is that right price? And we said this earlier in one of the earlier videos. Talk to other people, do some research, find out what other people are charging, and then come up with a price that you can live with. Because, it isn't all about, well, I guess I have to charge $50 because I need to get people to come in. People don't always look at the lowest price.
Mm-mm.
They,
No.
Mm-mm.
right? Thank you. Well, don't you find that, MaLinda? It's not just about being the cheapest,
Right.
because
Right.
oftentimes that makes you look like you're not necessarily a value, right? Do you
Right.
find that?
Absolutely. And
Well,
I just
coaches undervalue themselves all the time. It's like their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
well, and I think that for me came from I love doing what I do so much that we don't call it work. And so then you start adding up the expenses that come with the workshop,
Hmm.
and we forget to even pay ourselves within that
Right.
as far as time
Right.
goes. And
Right.
it's, if you're doing a loss leader, that's one thing, accepted as a loss leader. You're just in the value to do this. But if you're doing it to taking time away from your family
Hmm.
and moving your business forward, look at it as a business expense. And the book helps you understand that part of it, because as a new coach, it's so easy to go, I'm going to get new people, do a workshop, and then everybody comes and everybody leaves, and you're going, what do I do now?
Right.
Where did all
Yeah.
my people go? How do I get them back? And so I like to look at the book as a steady motion forward, instead of, as
Mm.
most of us have learned as new coaches, 2 steps forward and 8 steps back. And then you go, oh my gosh, now I have to run and catch up to my forward 2 steps. And so it always felt as a new coach like I was backtracking. And
Mm.
and everybody has
Mm.
an opinion on how you should do your business. And so I think as a coach, that takes it away a little bit from you, because as a new coach, you want to make it right and do what everybody tells you. But the book helps you make those decisions on yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're responsible for your own actions, and the book helps you make sound decisions moving forward with what's right for you as a coach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So can I add one
definitely.
thing, Rhonda?
Yes,
One
please.
of the things you said, MaLinda, a lost leader, I'd like to rephrase that as an
Okay.
introductory price.
Yes.
Oh,
You are
yeah.
offering a special one-time introductory price, because what that's doing is it's setting the stage for a price increase. Instead of
Mhm.
going in at a lowball price and say, okay, I'll lose money on this to try and capture. When you say introductory, people will know, oh, the price is going up. I guess I should take advantage of that. So
Yep.
just wanted to add that.
And you can do your introductory price as long as you want to,
Yeah.
but it always needs to be an introductory price. One thing I want to just add to the conversation about pricing, and this comes down to how much income also that you
Mm,
receive, is that you will make as much as your mind will allow you. Because this
yeah.
is the most important thing about your money. It's that it just is. So,
Yeah.
because we tend to spiritualize the people, most coaches, some don't, I don't want to say all, but a lot of coaches, their reasons for coaching, it's very innate. And again, we talked earlier, it's a calling. And when you're
Mhm.
Right.
dealing with a calling, it's the calling is more important often. And so you lose judgment around money and what to charge. This is just how it kind of works. So
Yeah.
we really challenge coaches who have these types of issues around finances and so forth, where, you know, you recognize a financial barrier here, to seek coaching for that, because you can get away from that. You don't have to stay there.
Right.
So,
What you think
mhm.
about, you bring about. If you think you're only going to get this much, that's exactly what you're going to get.
That's right.
And it makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
Yolanda joining us. She says, make as much as your mind will allow is deep. It is.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it is controlling.
Yes.
It's controlling totally.
Yes,
So,
it will.
anyway.
It will keep you behind the wall instead
Yeah.
of moving forward to scale over it.
Sure.
That is your
For
story.
sure.
Very much.
Well, MaLinda, thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us. And if you will, when you get off of here, pop all of your information into the chat box so that people can connect with you. You are an amazing coach in Wyoming, working with families and kids and doing all sorts of great things. And so thank you so much for coming today.
Yes, thank you. That's been great.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited for you, and I wish you all great success. And thank you for giving me a tool to pass on to my coaches. I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll see you after the show. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow. See, she, you know, both MaLinda and Yolanda, who was here with us earlier, you know, coaches have these common issues. And the problem is that you feel alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
that's so, it goes back to what we've said. You've got to find other coaches that you can connect with, that you can trust, that you can meet with and lean on and share information and ideas. And they'll share back with you so that you can learn from each other.
Yes. And that's it. So you guys go out. We would love for you to buy the book. And if you're not a coach, or you know a coach that's ready for a new career, this is a great starter book, and you can make that investment in them.
Yeah.
And so with that, we will be back at the top of the hour to talk about the next segment. And I believe we have a guest.
We do. It's Judy Diaz.
We have Judy Diaz in the house next hour. So with that, we will see you then. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.